Well, hello. Girlie, we're back. We're back another week.
Yeah, another back. Yeah, we're back. Not everybody's coming back.
Not everybody's coming back, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's really not. So I guess I start right off with President Biden.
He has decided to bow out.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Can I ask you, were you surprised?
Actually, yeah, I was surprised. Because up until this point, he's like, we need to keep our country in check, and it's been kind of said that Jill Biden's really been pushing him to run. She's been really been behind the whole campaign this whole time. So yeah, I am a little surprised that he dropped out this close to election day.
Yeah, I think that we hear a lot about Jill Biden, and I think that's interesting. I don't know if how could you ever know if it's true? I don't know, but I hear a lot of people talking about Jill Biden, and I'm like, but she's not the president, so.
But we do know that the first lady has a pretty, important role.
Right. I just think it's interesting how much we're talking about Jill Biden, but regardless,
role she has.
Right. Right. I hear a lot of really not nice things said about Jill Biden. As much as everybody keeps talking about, you and I had talked just last week about, tolerating, President Biden, tolerating Kamala Harris, right? You said, oh my gosh, sometimes she's even more painful to listen to, like with speeches.
Oh my gosh.
I hear a lot of people talking about how much they dislike hearing Jill or hearing about Jill Biden.
Okay, going back to what you just said, though, on how Kamala Harris speaks, did you hear what's now trending because of that? What Charlie XCX has described Kamala Harris. It's actually pretty spot on. The word that she used, I don't really get. It's very Mean Girls and trying to make fetch happen. But she called her brat, which is very much the fun party drunk girl that shows up at the party and is of the life. And kind of you never know really what's going to happen with her. And, she's really smart, but comes off kind of stupid. And that's brat, or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Now, now Kamala's embracing that in her campaign.
I don't think that helps. I don't think that. I understand you turn it around and use it, but no, don't do that. Keep your politics. Stop trying to be trendy. Stop trying to don't make jokes here and there, or pepper them in, okay, when they work, but just tone it back. I understand that you're trying to get the younger demographic, but honestly, you are trying so hard.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, they have to get the younger demographic because that's what it was. Everyone was complaining about how old Biden and Trump were, the two old white men. Well, now they have a young African-American woman. Who are they going to appeal to? The young generation. I don't know. I'm a part of the young generation, I feel, and I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with the pick.
No,
about you?
No, and I heard, I was watching, so I had the news on all day again today, and I'm catching bits and pieces. I was really disappointed. I did not hear much about the head of the Secret Service, that they did the Inquisition today. I was disappointed, but I did catch 18 times the same clip. I think it was CNN. They did talk to the people and go out there and just get some feedback. And the one clip that I heard 18 times was the woman who said, well, I'm really not happy with the pick either. I mean, for 2 years, we really haven't heard anything about her. And now all of a sudden, boop, she's running for president. And I think that captures a lot of the sentiment that I hear. And I actually, though, was not surprised that it was going to be her, because who else could it be?
She not surprises her either.
Right. She has the funds because she can dip into, from what I understand, right? She can dip into what is already in existence for the previous Biden-Harris campaign. Who else has that kind of money, that kind of, so quickly? Who else could they have picked? I mean,
and she raised $80 million in 24 hours. I mean, that in itself is impressive. However, she's had 4 years to impress us. And what has she done?
No. As a matter of fact, I think that, and I could be wrong, but my impression has been take the focus off of her. It's really been, oh no, Biden is in control. Biden is fine. Biden is doing it. Biden is single-handedly, the most amazing president that we've ever seen in the history of this country, right? Like, it's always been like, focus here, focus on Biden, because they were trying to cover up for the fact that for a really long time, he has been stumbling. And probably a lot of people are going to argue that from day one or for many, many years prior to the presidency, because I know there's a huge amount of people that don't like him. But regardless, I feel like they've been focused really hard on Biden to take the focus off of Harris. And now here we are like, no, Harris is awesome too. You should vote for her. And there was nowhere else to go with it. But I was not surprised that he ended up dipping out. Right. I mean, he's gone. I mean, literally gone. Like, oh, he has COVID and he sent a letter.
Can we please talk about that? How he has COVID again? The man has had, 16 or 10 or I don't know how many doses of the COVID vaccine.
I mean, is it a commercial that he's had his third dose of Paxlovid? Oh, he's had his fourth dose. Like, what? Why are you telling me so?
Right.
It's nonstop about how many Paxlovid. I didn't even know the name of it until he got COVID again.
What? Right, again. That's the thing. You keep getting COVID, but you keep getting the COVID shot.
Right.
Why?
Or, and that's the problem, that nobody believes him anymore for good reason. Because it all sounds sketchy. Like, so you're sequestered again, you're doing your thing, you're in private, and you send out like a letter. Like, this is a huge moment in history, in your history, President Biden, in our history as a country. And this is the letter, that you're getting. And then I heard some major news outlets saying, well, that's not fair. Trump always puts everything, in a tweet or, on social media or whatever. But that's a little different. A lot of networks really weren't covering him. They weren't giving him time. Weren't talking to him. He was like blackballed, you know what I mean? So he had to have an outlet, and that's where it was.
And if you remember, he had to create his own social media network because he got kicked off of them.
Right. Truth Social, right? Is that his network? That's what they're talking about now. I don't know. I've never ventured.
I'm not on it, no.
No.
I can't. There's too much social media for me. I'm good.
No, I
can't keep up on Facebook.
It needs to be on there so we can see, because I'd love to see firsthand, because I don't know what's on there. So it's not really the same, is it, when you're sending out a letter saying like, I'm not going to run anymore?
Well, he's supposed to be making an announcement in person. However, we have to wait until he gets better.
When will that be? And better from what?
Well, from COVID.
Oh, COVID's the reason that
right. Yeah, we have to wait for the COVID to leave his body this time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I won't hold my breath. Yeah, have another sip of wine on that one. So this is another week. It's every week. There's something crazy going on.
Yeah. Next week we'll talk about who her VP pick is, because we don't have that much time. We have like 4 months until Election Day.
No. Yeah. This is close. This is definitely very close, right?
And that's obviously why they went with her too, because who are you gonna,
there's no get? Yeah. Though I did see, all right, I might be alone on this one, but I saw that they were talking about who is endorsing Harris. First of all, everybody on the Democratic Party should be endorsing her, because there is no other option. You can't go anywhere.
But they're not. Not everybody is.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think former President Obama gave her the thumbs up, right? He
didn't. But if you had to consider the fact that, Biden was his vice president, and, he has to be respectful of that.
Biden threw it right over to Harris, Kamala Harris.
That's different. That's him doing it. But you can't, Obama's not going to, Obama supposedly was quietly behind the scenes saying that Biden needed to bow out. He's not doing it loudly either, because he wants to be respectful of Biden. And for that, he hasn't endorsed Kamala. But if you remember, for the longest time, he also didn't endorse Biden to run for president either.
I thought it was funny that they did mention like Hillary Clinton. And then in the same breath, whatever network I was surfing through was like, also, she didn't make it to the presidency. So maybe we should point that out,
By the way.
I'm watching who's endorsing who, right? So we're talking about Trump in this election again. We're talking about Biden in this election again. We're talking about Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. I mean, there was enough Bushes already, right? Like, do we really? Is this the best that we can? Is there like, what's this pool of candidates? Is like 15 people the next 25 years that are allowed to run for presidency? Where are we with that?
Well, we have another Kennedy. How many Kennedys are there?
It's very elite crew that is able to run for presidency. I understand that funding is a big part of the process, and there's only so many people that have that kind of funding. Trump is a repeat again. He is, but I think that is a lot of the reason that people were drawn to Trump at some point or another, because it was like, well, you know what?
Different.
Yeah.
And well, and on that point, when you look at the last 4 years, Kamala has been a part of that administration, and you look at the debt we're in, you look at the prices in the grocery store, you look at the gas prices, you look at the border, she's in charge of the border.
Right.
Are we really going to vote that in again?
Yeah.
I honestly think they just handed it right over to Trump by naming her the candidate. I really do.
So for people that do vote Democratic, I feel like there's a lot of relief that it's not Biden, because as much as you may have,
I agree.
Now they can say, oh God, at least I don't have to like vote for like a bumbling old man. At least this person like can complete a sentence. So maybe they got a lot of those people back on board.
I still am not really sure that she can complete a sentence, really.
I watched her. There was something sports oriented today that she did.
Forget about that.
I don't know. But she did address the, elephant in the room in the first few moments of the speech. I didn't pay enough attention to her because I didn't see this coming. 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 months ago, I didn't see this coming. So I didn't pay enough attention. I was watching today when she did this address, whatever it was. It should have been something that was very low key, but obviously having all the events unfolding, she talked about, what's going on briefly. And she didn't sound terrible. Like, again, just the process of, can you speak to a crowd? Can you, entertain an audience? Because really that's what we're talking about. And she did sound okay. And I saw the same thing with Vance. Again, I watched Vance, and I'm really not talking about content. I'm not talking about what their full political careers, the weight of it. Just talking about right now, you're running for president, VP, whatever. People are listening right now, right? And both of them, I felt, were coherent. That's a step up. I know there's a lot of hate out there for Nancy Pelosi. A lot. And I'm just going to say, she's not stupid, right? She's not stupid. When she was asked, when Biden was still running, she was asked by reporters, are you, supporting Biden as he continues to run? Do you think he should step away from the campaign? And she said, whenever he makes his decision, we will be behind him, supporting it all the way. And the reporters were like, no, he just put out a statement saying that he is going to run and nothing is going to dissuade him. And she was like, as soon as he makes the decision, we will be behind him. Like, what a political answer. Like, she knew that it couldn't be him. And she knew that she can't say no because it's not, he's the current president. She can't say, like, we don't support him. What a political answer. She's not clever. Did you watch any of the Secret Service Cheadle Inquisition? Did you see any of that? I'll pretty much just say, I'd love to hear more details about what happened, right? And I think there's a lot of people who asked a lot of questions who they would also love to know what happened. Where's the failure? What went wrong here? And there's no answers at this point. And it's to me so frustrating that everybody's saying, well, she should resign. Well, I'd like to know what happened. And I think that a lot of people would like to know what happened. The American people would like to know what happened. Right. And talking about her resigning is just detracting from what happened. What happens? Let's talk about her career path at another point in time, because right now she is currently in charge and we would like to know what happened. So everybody stop taking away from the main story, which is an assassination attempt and stop yelling about people resigning. I find this happens whenever there's like a big, massive screw up.
Right.
Everyone yells that the top guy or girl should resign
or be fired or whatever.
Right. And I really don't care about your career path at this point. I understand people are like, hey, this shouldn't have happened and she shouldn't be leading the Secret Service at this point. Okay, whatever. We'll talk about that. But let's first find out what happened and how did this happen? Because when we don't have answers, we don't have any information about why this was allowed to take place. I mean, there's a whole team of people that exist solely so that somebody doesn't get assassinated. And we had a very close call. Why?
And we now know that his parents called authorities to warn them. We now know that obviously we know he called out of work, but we don't know why. He just said he had something to do, so that we can't really connect. But we do know his parents called the authorities hours before. So where was that delay? What happened in those hours?
Right. I mean, there was like multiple accounts of, I think it was like an hour beforehand, 20 minutes beforehand, 5 minutes beforehand, there was a lot of different alarms that should have gone off. Where was the breakdown and why? And when we don't answer these type of questions, everybody is on edge. Nobody believes the media currently. And this is just one of those things that happens that you don't get answers, you don't get the information that you need. And this one's maybe not because of the media, but now everybody's making up their own stories. Have you run into that, Rachel? Because I'm hearing a lot of, Trump's team set that up to get more votes. Or, the FBI, the Secret Service, they must have been in on it, right? When you don't come up with answers, people will make up their own. So you're leaving this open-ended and people are going to fill in the blanks. And it's not going to be right. That's what happens. And that's what's happening. Same thing with Biden, right? When you just send out a notice and say, like, I'm not going to run again after all the talk that we've just heard. And you're not showing your face and you've got COVID again and yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what happens? People fill in the blanks. People don't believe whatever the situation is. In this case with Biden, people are coming up with their own stories again. I can't even think of what I've heard, but the things that you hear, it's like getting a little off the wall.
Well, right. Like Jill is the one that's pushing him to run for president so she can be president. Like those are the stories that we're hearing.
Right. Exactly. And
it's going to be a Trump-Kamala election.
Yeah.
Woof. Buckle up.
And whatever direction it goes, whatever direction this goes, it is going to be loud. Nobody is going to be happy. There's going to be a lot of yelling on both sides. When the day comes and we find out who it is, that's going to be our next president.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a lot going on.
Well, luckily we have until January. Luckily, I say.
We'll see where this goes. It's not going to be good.
No, it's not. It's going to be a train wreck.
Mm-hmm. If it isn't already.
Oh, it's been a train wreck. It's just, we're here for the ride.
Mm-hmm. So the slow news next week will just be who's the VP pick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else could possibly happen?
Trump drops out?
No. There will be a tsunami in New York City before that happens.
Right. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
You've been listening to The History Last Week with Mollie and Rachel.